So I led another creation workshop last night here in Bali. And this is a workshop that I've been leading for 6 weeks now, once a week, and it's free. And it's for all creators in the broader sense, not just content creators, but entrepreneurs, artists, content, and anyone creating anything. And the purpose was to help people. Where I'm in Bali, there's a lot of digital nomads, a lot of people that are solopreneurs, and so they're doing their own thing, whether it's art or business or creating content, and they need some help. When you're by yourself doing your own, trying to create your own thing, it's easy to fall prey to procrastination, distraction, fear, etc. And it can be lonely. It's very lonely. I created this workshop to help people to get into action and focus and create their best work and get through all their blocks. And yesterday at the workshop, I was teaching some stuff from Alex Hormozi about how to build an offer for your, product or service. And something that Alex Hormozi says a lot in his content is he wished that people like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos documented their whole rise from the beginning. And so he's doing that for himself. He's documenting his journey on the path to $1 billion. That's his goal. And I would say that thing that he's doing and saying it that way, like wishing these people had documented the rise and now he's going to do it for his rise, that was a big inspiration for me for doing these videos that I'm now I think this is 8 or something. So I've been doing these videos daily for around 8 days, and I plan to continue doing them daily. And the goal here is to document my journey and my rise. And question is toward what is my destination. Alex Hormozi has $1 billion. That's his destination. That's his goal. And it's a very clear, measurable goal, right? Everyone can see when he's reached it. If he shows us, like, there's a hard number to reach. As for me, I'm not sure what that is, because for me, it's not going to be a dollar number that, I don't know, it doesn't really turn me on to just try to reach some massive dollar number just for the sake of that number. Now, a lot of money as a means to do something else, that turns me on, and that's what I'm going toward. But I want to set the goal for whatever that thing is. If I need money to do it, then I'll get money. But what I'm feeling more inspired around the destination has to do with basically scaling this workshop that I just mentioned. In other words, how can I create and help the most people to create great works of art, great businesses, great great content, whatever they want to create, maybe building something physical, right? Whatever they want to create, how can I help the most people create? And there's a lot of entrepreneurs in this workshop, and I am into helping entrepreneurs. I'm definitely have a strong preference or a draw to art, because I am an artist myself, and I'm newly calling myself an artist. I called myself a writer before, a director, a screenwriter, but I'm newly calling myself an artist because I think it's time to reclaim that word for people that are creating any kind of experience that moves other people. And artist became an elitist term, snobby term of some kind of fine art painter who has a studio and has paintings in a museum or whatever. And that's just one kind of artist. Art is more about creating something from yourself, as opposed to the final thing is a painting or a sculpture or something like that, a classic museum art piece. Art is more about creating experience for other people that comes from you, right? That you created. And I really want to help people to create more art and to everybody's an artist would be the headline here, is everybody's an artist. They just maybe aren't creating art. And I want to change that. I really want to get as many people creating art as they can. And again, I'm using a very loose definition of art. It's an experience that moves somebody else, right? Whether that's moving them to laughter, moving them to tears, making them feel good, happy, sad, scared, whatever the case may be. Scared being like a horror movie, that's art. And obviously not trying to hurt anyone, but in an enjoyable way. Obviously, people go to horror movies to feel scared. They go to dramas, they feel sad. Some people do like to feel those emotions from art. And the point being is, I'm seeing these videos as trying to document my journey to the shortest way I can put it, I think, is to facilitate the next Renaissance. Now, that's quite a grandiose statement, I'm aware, and I'm saying this on a video that I'm going to put on YouTube. So potentially a lot of people might hear me say this grandiose statement, but that's okay. And that's, I think, taking after Alex Hormozi talking about he's going to make $1 billion, and he's saying that publicly on all his content. Well, I'm inspired by that, and I'm modeling it. In other words, by saying this big audacious goal that I do have, as opposed to keeping it secret, I'm going to see what happens with that. I don't really know. There's obviously people talk about you speak something and it becomes true because you're putting it out there in the universe and you're attracting the people and other resources that you need because they hear about it. And if you don't say it, no one hears about it. Why would they come try to join you or help you? Also, I think there's going to be unexpected results that happen as from me making these videos and talking about these big goals in my journey online. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm doing it for that reason. Because what I've done for most of my life is play out the whole chess game before I make the first move. I'll decide where everything's going before I do anything. And then I'll end up being most of the time, because I am playing the game, I'm making the moves that I saw in my head. And so I usually get the results that I saw happening because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's because that's what I'm doing. But I'm not even seeing or putting myself in a place to receive any kind of other opportunity for things to go a different way than the way I envisioned. So I'm keeping myself in this very narrow track where I don't get a lot of the opportunities that are outside that track because I'm not even open to them. I'm not looking for them. And looking back, a lot of them I think were right in my face, essentially, or like pretty obvious. They were like, here's an opportunity. But I was so focused on the narrow track and playing the game that I had predicted in my head that I didn't see these opportunities. I'm operating right now in more of a let me start taking action. Let me put myself out there and let me add value and see what happens without knowing where it's going to lead. So, for example, this workshop that I've been doing here in Bali for the last 6 weeks, it's totally free, and there's no funnel. In other words, there's nothing to buy. It's not like a lead magnet that you would see online. Like, here's the free thing, and then if you want the special service or the special course or the special coaching, it costs this much money, right? The funnel. So there is no funnel. I'm not selling. I don't do coaching. I don't have another course, or I don't have anything to sell these people. In other words, there is no plan of how it could turn into something for me in terms of money or business. And also, I'm not doing it as charity. I'm not doing it as a charity. That's not the goal, the intention either. So it's somewhere in this middle gray area, which I historically don't like to live in, but I'm exploring now, which is I am adding value. I am adding value to people in ways that other people pay for. In other words, I'm giving value that is worth money, like a lot of money, because I know because I've paid it. I've spent at least $20,000 US on various coaching programs and courses and retreats and I'm now putting all that, everything I learned into these workshops. So I know it's worth a lot of money, but I'm giving it away for free because I'm exploring this way of operating of just adding value and seeing what happens. And I could start to anticipate, maybe people will ask me if they can pay me to coach them, or they will ask me if I can do some kind of mastermind or something like that, or a seminar, retreat, a course, etc. So I could start to anticipate something like that, or a paid community. So I could come up, obviously, with these ways in which it could lead to money. But I'm purposely resisting that because, again, I don't want to get caught in that narrow track, which I've spent most of my life, which is only playing out the game that I can see right now from my limited vantage point. We all can only see the future from a limited vantage point that we're in. We can't see every possibility that can happen. We want to. It's instinctual that we want to because we want to survive. And so we want to see all the possible paths and the ways we get killed and avoid them. That's ingrained in us from evolution and surviving as long as we have as a species. Of course, our tendency is to try to predict the future, try to find the safest path, and then take that path. And for good reason, because it's linked to survival. But obviously now the world is much safer and there's way less risk of death than there was for most of human history. So we can take more dangerous paths and not end up dead. We can take more risky paths and not end up dead. And I'm avoiding any kind of predictable path because it's safe. And I know that's where I'm going to gravitate toward that because I want to stay safe. But then I'm eliminating all these other opportunities. And the danger in those other opportunities is not life-threatening. It's like being uncomfortable, having different conversations with people that I wouldn't normally have, like being uncomfortable, putting myself out there as someone who could lead a workshop like this, right? That's uncomfortable. Teaching something which then positions me as some kind of expert or knowledgeable teacher to do it, then imposter syndrome comes up for me. And so that's a danger on this unknown path. You see what I'm getting at? It's like the dangers on the unknown path have to do with feeling uncomfortable, basically. That's basically summarizes all of them. It has to do with feeling uncomfortable. Most of the dangers on these other paths. I'm not talking about doing something that's actually life-threatening. I'm not talking about mortgaging the house and my kid's college fund and something that would actually have like potentially grave results if it went bad, right? So I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about exploring this unknown path where things might get uncomfortable. And I think this is kind of the message I want to end this video on, is stepping into the unknown is uncomfortable, but I believe it's going to be worth it. And I don't know how, and that's why I'm making these videos daily to document my journey, so you can see how in real time. Because it's nice when you hear someone super successful talk about, when they were starting out or somewhere on their journey before they made it, and they're saying how they they took a risk or they stepped into the unknown, they got uncomfortable. Doesn't carry that much meaning because it's like, it's so far in the past. They've made it so far. They're in an interview or a podcast or whatever, they're clearly summarizing and giving you like highlights, and you're not getting like the full story, obviously. And it's okay. You can take the message, but it's not the same thing as seeing someone go through it in real time, which is, again, what Alex Hormozi is doing for business, is to show building a massive business in real time, as opposed to here are my lessons 40 years later. And so I'm doing the same thing. And so you can see me actually stepping into the unknown, being uncomfortable, right? Making these videos is very uncomfortable for me right now. I anticipate that doing them daily over time, I'll get more comfortable. But this is uncomfortable for me. I've really avoided a lot of social media, especially pictures and videos. I'm uncomfortable with that. I'm not someone, like, all the pictures on my phone are pictures that other people sent me. I don't like taking pictures. I don't like being in pictures. I feel weird. Videos, very little that I've been in. And this comes from childhood stuff about being in the spotlight and having attention on me and being very afraid what would happen if that happens because of a trauma that I had in the first grade. Point being is now making these videos, I'm talking to the camera, I'm sharing a lot of personal stuff about like stuff that's uncomfortable for me to share with other people. If you watch my other videos, even more than this video, I shared stuff that I was uncomfortable for me to share. But the overall point is trying to document my journey so that you can gain something from it. And so I'm hoping that people start to watch these videos and go along on the journey with me and do it with me in real time, as opposed to discovering these. Also, I hope people discover them later and then go through it whenever you're ready. But I'm also hoping that people are going to start watching these and start going along on the journey with me and start stepping into the unknown with me and start creating with me, creating art, business, whatever you want to create, but something that is really you, from you, that only you can create. And like, we can share it with each other and show each other what we create and inspire each other, inspire other people to create, because that's, like I said, that's the big mission that I'm really tapping into and documenting here. So I'm hoping that you go along with me and become part of it. So keep tuning into the videos daily and message me if you're going along on the journey with me, and let's do this together. Let's facilitate the next Renaissance together.